Good morning, everyone. We are continuing here in the words of the Horowitz Chaim in the Sefer Mitzvah HaKotzar, and today we will see Mitzvah's Loisase, the negative commandment Mem Test number 49, which is along the lines of the Ainah of the oppression that we spoke about before. Mitzvah's Loisase Shalalahainais Geret Tzedek Bidvarim. You are not allowed to cause pain to a Geret Tzedek, to a righteous convert, bidvarim, with your words. Shenema, like it says, v'ger loisaina. A ger you should not wrong. You should not pain him. A ger, the Torah tells us, and the Chazal explain, is very sensitive. They come from a background which is not Jewish. Sometimes they look not Jewish. Their pronunciation is not Jewish. They come maybe from a foreign country, from a foreign nation, from a foreign people. And therefore there's always a little bit of an insecurity when they are around the Jewish people. Even after they convert, and even after many years has gone, it remains similar to Bali Tshuva as well. Sometimes Bali Tshuva, you would see them on the street, you would never ever know that this person was a Bali Tshuva. They look like regular, run-of-the-mill, from birth person with all the trimmings. Yet inside, they know that they're not from a from birth family, and they know they didn't grow up in the regular yeshiva system, and maybe their learning is not as good as everybody else, so on and so forth. So a person has to be very careful with people that are sensitive. And that's why the Torah gives an additional prohibition. We already said that you're not allowed to do Ainos Dvarim. You cannot oppress a person with your words to another Jew. Why does the Torah have to teach me that you can't do that to a ger, to a convert? A convert is a part of the Jewish people. Because the Torah is teaching you have to be extra careful over here. One wrong word to a convert could end up ruining their whole day, could end up paining them and hurting them. Even if you intended nothing negative at all from such a thing. And therefore the Torah says, V'ger loisaina, be careful when you are talking to a ger, when you are talking to a convert, make sure that you speak with deference and derech eretz and honor and respect, and don't say anything that could be misinterpreted by him, that will be Ainas Devarim, that will be these words of hurt and pain. And secondly, mitzvah number Nun 50, mitzvahs loisaseh shel is geret tzedek v'mamayin. So too, the same thing. You cannot oppress a convert in monetary regards and stuff. Shenema, like it says, v'loisil chatzenu. It says you cannot oppress him. V'lavin elu noisafin ala lavin shanu mizahim b'zeh al shar Yisrael. And these negative commandments over here are not only on the ger, but it's in addition to what we said previously. Just like we mentioned, there are already two prohibitions that we have to every Jew, that you cannot oppress them with the money and you cannot oppress them with words. And here now we have an additional prohibition that you can't do this specifically to a ger, to a convert. The convert is a Jew. So that means not only do you get the two demerits of the first two prohibitions that we discussed, which is to all the Jewish people, it's additional enforcement over here that the Torah is saying how to be careful with the ger, with the convert, and therefore you have two more lavin, two more prohibitions that a person could transgress over here. This is something that applies everywhere all the time, with men and women, and therefore we have to be so careful. And not only with the gerim, not only with the Bali Tshuva, but really anyone that you know is sensitive, extra sensitive. And in our generation, that's has to be assumed pretty much every single person that you come in contact with, every man, woman, child, they're all sensitive. Everybody is fragile. We're like the eggshell that's just waiting. If you tap it in the wrong place, it's going to crack. And so we have to be exceedingly careful in the world of Ainos Devarim these days, of making sure that the words that come out of our mouth that we say to another person cannot be misinterpreted or misconstrued or taken in the wrong way, but rather, Be'ez Hashem, will say words that will be mechazik a person, they'll strengthen a person, they'll encourage a person, they'll help them along the way, and Khalilah, God forbid, not to do something that is going to hurt them and their feelings and their sensitivities. Rather, we be careful with our speech, and in that way, we'll continue to follow in the beautiful commandments of the Torah. Have a wonderful day.